Good morning, everyone. Welcome. My name is Menachem Creditor. It is my honor to serve as scholar in residence and rabbi for UJ Federation of New York, where we bring you Torah and music and blessing and community every weekday morning at 9 o'clock. We've been doing so since March 18th, 2020. Today is April 1st, 2021. It's a long time to share and build community, and what a community we have built. Friends who share what's going on in their lives, reach out for support, celebrate things, and are just honest about what we're going through, the way community should be. And we show up each morning wishing each other a good morning, launching into a new day together. We're in the middle of Pesach, and so there's a specific way that we begin to greet each other, which is, you doing okay? Too much matzah? You all right? So let's see who's here. We get to welcome each other. Barry, Boker Tov. Hi, Carl. Penny, good vaccinated morning to you too. Thank you, Donna. I do feel okay. Patty, Arlene, Shira, Boker Tov. You hugged your bestie in the city yesterday for the first time in over a year. That is a huge mazel tov. Mazel tov to you. Linda, Stanley, thank you for the congratulations. Arlene, I'm doing okay. Thank you for asking. Good morning, Stacy. Carl, you got your first shot yesterday. Mazel tov. Kim, hope you are also recovering. We've got, twin bruises, I guess, on our upper arms. Glad to share that with you. Boker Tov, Deborah, 75 and sunny in Berkeley. There are moments I really miss it, mostly because you're there. Shirley, Debbie, Judy, Marilyn, Boker Tov, I'm doing okay. Thank you for asking. Stephen, Deborah, Barbara, Ellen, good morning. Iris, Sharon, I'm going to get everybody's name before I say the blessing. David, Boker Tov, Gail, hi. Stephanie, Arlene, Sherilyn, Susan, Janet, Rose. All right, I caught up with where my feet is. Here we go. Let's take a breath, everybody. Sing the blessing. Hi, Dod Baruch. Hi, Roberta. Good morning, everyone. It's so good to see all of you here. I especially want to give a shout out, Larry Ritter. You just joined us. You've been with us for many, many days. But when the pandemic began, there was fear that we wouldn't have enough masks for our families, for our kids. You sent my family a box of masks. So this is my chance to thank you publicly. At the beginning of all of that, where there was so much uncertainty, and of course there still is, thank you for taking care of us. And to everyone, it's so good that you're here. Thank you for all the wonderful feedback after yesterday's broadcast right outside of the vaccination site where I got my second shot. A sore arm tells me that healing is on the way. And in fact, that's part of what I wanted to share. Not about my arm, but about where we are in the calendar and what that might mean for all of us. There's something so important about recognizing that Pesach's journey is a textured one. And in fact, if you read the story carefully, it doesn't begin with freedom. It begins with the story going to Egypt, of being a family that goes through all of the tribulations in Genesis of Breshit, and then the beginning of Exodus is the story of one individual from a family. Now, there's a lot of scholarly work done on the journey of Moses called the hero's journey, where you are born to a certain environment and then something happens and you need to run away. And in the running away, you are transformed. And Moses goes to Tatooine. I was jumping from Exodus to Star Wars. Moses goes to Midian, and in Midian becomes transformed not only by life experience, but by an encounter with God at the burning bush. And then God sends him back, but once he comes back, he's no longer what he was. He's not clearly an Israelite. He's not clearly an Egyptian. He's many, many things, including none of those. And he is the one who channels God's message and brings us forward. It's important to understand that story actually happens through many, many moments and many stories. That's why, yes, David, I did say Tatooine. That's why scholars have suggested that the hero's journey forms the basis of the Luke Skywalker journey, and they are not the only two. There's a wonderful book by Douglas Wood called Old Turtle and the Broken Truth. It's my favorite children's book ever. So if you're looking for a recommendation, Old Turtle and the Broken Truth. It's not for the youngest of children, and it's one of those kids' books that clearly is not only a kids' book. There's a story of a girl who is raised in a world where there's an origin story like this. Once upon a time, the truth fell from the sky, and the truth broke into two pieces, and one of the pieces fell in a field, and animals came and saw it, and it was shiny, and it was a beautiful, beautiful thing, but they got bored with it pretty soon, and they went away. Eventually, a person found it and said, "Oh, this is so beautiful," and saw what was written on this truth that had fallen from the sky, this broken truth, and shared it with their family, and people from all around came to see it. In fact, it became so popular that people from around the world started to travel to see it, and eventually a war was started because one people wanted to take it away. Many wars were fought for this broken truth, until one point that a very powerful nation captured that broken truth and put it up on a pedestal for all to see. A girl was born and said, there needs to be a different kind of world. This is not how things should be. Something's wrong. So she goes on a journey. And on that journey, she goes over mountains and through rivers, through forests, until she meets an ancient sage who's Old Turtle, an ancient wisdom teacher who's a turtle. And Old Turtle tells her so many things that she needed to know. And she's finally ready to return after being transformed in such ways. Old Turtle says, but you need to take this with you, and gives her the other piece of the broken truth. She travels back through the forest, through the rivers, over the mountains, comes back to her community and tries to communicate all of these new truths to her family, her people of origin, but they can't understand her. Transformative journeys sometimes do that. So she knows that she needs to show them. She bundles up the piece of the truth that Old Turtle gave her. She climbs up the pedestal to where the other piece of the truth has been hiding for so long, and she holds them together, showing the people that the broken truths are not enough. What was on the original truth that was placed on the pedestal? You are loved. That's what people fought for. You are loved. And she took the missing piece of that broken truth and brought it together, and the missing piece said, and so are they. You are loved, and so are they. When Moses comes back after his journey to Midian, after meeting God at the burning bush, he said to the people, you're going to be free. And they couldn't even imagine it, from kotzer ruach, from a shortness of breath, an attenuated spirit. Kristalina, the name of the book is Old Turtle and the Broken Truth. It's actually a sequel, so I encourage both, but the second one is my favorite. When Moses comes back after his transformative journey, he speaks a language that people don't understand, a language of freedom and purpose. So too have we been through such a tremendous transformative journey. But the strange gift about this moment is we all speak the same language. Or we all could. Or we could listen well enough to learn the language of our neighbors. What have you been through? We're in this world together, but maybe you've been transformed in a way that I haven't. Maybe you have wisdom that I need. This journey towards freedom is going to have to include the second half of the broken truth. It is so important. You are loved, and so are they. My life is not more precious than my neighbor's. And those in the world who have more are not more loved, don't deserve health more. We all deserve health equally. There needs to be an understanding based in, at least in Jewish language, in Torah, which is that no one deserves less. No one deserves less. And we've been through this incredibly transformative and traumatic thing together, that healing is going to have to be collective too. So I want to bless us during this Pesach journey to take in the language that the rabbis begin to process in the Haggadah and the many Haggadot that have been created through time, including most recently a superhero Haggadah and a graphic novel Haggadah and an emoji Haggadah, a Hogwarts Haggadah. There's something so important about recognizing that every generation processes the past. The real question is, can we learn? Can we learn that everybody has that journey? Everybody's a hero. Everybody's language is worth learning. There are broken truths that are celebrated as if they're whole all over the place. Wars are fought because people think that they're more loved. But they're not. They're not. They are loved, but they're not more loved. You are loved, I promise. And so are they. So friends, let's continue journeying. And if your journey takes you to a place where you have been transformed, please come back and make sure we can hear you. And all of us, those who are going to be blessed to receive that kind of new wisdom, may we be wise enough to truly listen, to try to understand better. And if the language is of being a community where the common good matters more than anything else, may we be blessed to embrace that, champion it, and do everything in our power to make sure that our neighbors are never, never abandoned. What that leads to is a world that was described by Rabbi Harold Kushner. It's so important to think about it. Rabbi Harold Kushner said that if there were help other sections in bookstores, there'd be no need for self-help sections in bookstores. Loving your neighbor. Loving your neighbor. And you are the neighbor sometimes, worthy of that love. So let's be blessed. Go through the rest of Pesach with an open heart and with hope. Sore arms, that's fine. But hope. Here we go. Into a good day, everybody. Bless you, friends. See you tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock.